Alright guys, how you doing? And welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking about a new water filtration system called the CR Spotless. So as you guys can see, I obviously picked up a CR Spotless. I actually picked it up from Matt from Obsessed Garage while I was there. I've been saving and thinking about getting one for quite some time now, and actually a lot of my friends were surprised that I didn't already have one. Before we jump into sort of my custom install of my own that I did on my detailing cart here, I wanted to let you know that this is something that is sort of the next step. So a lot of people have, maybe they have a Krenzler, they have a nice pressure washer or whatever setup you have. Getting a water filtration system of any kind, unless your water is really bad, is usually, in most people's mind, excessive. So I just want to sort of preface this video with that thought in your mind, where unless you're like super OCD, or you're super like detail oriented, worrying about water spots and the water being in good shape, this is something that you definitely want to get if you're worried about that. But if you're not, then this video may be a little excessive. The De-Ionizer is obviously a water filtration system. This thing has two resin containers. You can get a smaller model, but I just opted for the wall mount with the larger resin containers. And what they do is they take the minerals, the ions, the salts from the water, and those particles get grabbed onto the resin containers. That's the whole point. That's how most filtration systems work. So what happens is the water goes through on the inlet, obviously. It goes through this thing. It's charged a certain way. I believe this thing actually charges the water, and then the any sort of minerals and things like that that are in the water will get magnetized against these filters, and then it goes out to however you're using the application. So very, very simple. It actually has a little, it's called a TDS monitor. What you do is you turn this on once the water is hooked up. I could be wrong on this, which is kind of the point of this video. It should read 0, and then as soon as these resins start to be full, or they've absorbed a lot of minerals and things like that, the number will start to go up. 0 means it has the 0 ppm for 90% life. So it should stay on 0 for an extended period of time when you get these things, I guess, depending on how you use it. So I'm gonna get up close and personal with you guys. You'll have to disregard the detailing cart. I've been so busy lately, I haven't had time. I have all these new things that I wanna try out that I haven't done, so more videos to come. But what I did was I bought the wall mount. I didn't want the cart because I already have the Krenzler, I have the hose, I have this detailing cart that I usually wheel out to this corner right here, and I didn't want another thing to pull out and work with. So what I did was, very simply, as you guys saw in the earlier clips, is I literally just bought the wall mount and I just bolted it onto this detailing cart, which is actually from ECS Tuning. It's like a metal, it's not even really detailing cart, it's just like a shop cart. And so far it seems to be fine. Time will tell if this thing starts to fall apart because of all the weight, because I know that this gets heavy with the water in it. But we'll just have to see. I'll have to either reinforce it or try something new. But here's your little TDS monitor. It should say 0. The 0 is actually good, and then you can turn this off. It actually stays on for 7 minutes. I believe it says 7 minutes. So when you're using this, it'll automatically turn off when you're done. And then of course, got the regular quick disconnects, and then you should be ready to go. Obviously, read everything, check out YouTube videos, check out things like that, whatever you need to do. But you don't want to be drinking this, and you definitely want to be mindful of how much water you're pushing through this, because these resins can be actually kind of expensive to replace. All right, so with that said, I want to let you guys know that I don't plan to wash the car with this hooked up. The only time I plan to hook this up to the pressure washer is when I'm drying the car, or really the last rinse. So I've done the wheels, I've pre-rinsed the car, I've done the foam cannon, I've washed it, and then I've rinsed it. That rinse step is when I'm going to be hooking this thing up. And if you guys are sort of really involved in the detailing community, a lot of guys have like a pass-through valve. So what you do is you hook this into one, it splits off above here, and then it goes into the pressure washer. So what you can do is just turn one knob and it'll either go through here or it won't. Right now, I either have to hook it up and use it, or I have to turn off the water, turn off the pressure, hook the pressure washer back up to the water over here, and then rehook it back up to this, which is kind of a pain, but to be honest with you, since it's just the last step, for now, that's what I'm gonna be using. It's simple, it's an extra step, I guess, but that's what I want to be using. But I wanna let you guys know that you have to be very mindful of how much water you're pushing through this thing. So you have to use it just on the drying stage. That's what I would do, because these things are expensive. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I'm going to be using it, which is pretty much the same as any other process I do. I'm not going to be washing the car today because it's literally supposed to rain in a couple hours, but I'm just going to be rinsing the wheels. So I'll just show you kind of how I hooked it up here, how it's going to work, and then I'll do maybe a quick little breakdown, and then you can give me your thoughts. Alright, so we got the pressure washer hooked up to the out, which means obviously the water is going to be going out. We got our little TDS monitor going, and then we have our inlet hose, which I know is a little leaky. This is just literally the first time I hooked water up to it, so this is the first time I'm experiencing leaks wherever they may be. So this is a little older of a shut-off valve, so I might get a new one at some point. And then we just got a regular hose hooked up, as well as our little splitter and our beautiful hose bib that is leaking like there's no tomorrow. Alright, so let's wrap this video up really quick. I want to address one quick thing that I'm not sure I mentioned earlier, is if you use this to rinse the wheels like I just did, or rinse the car or whatever, it can still leave water spots if the car's not clean. So if there's dirt or whatever involved, or some foreign substance for some reason, it can still spot on your car just like it can with any other process that you might use. So this is most valuable when you're rinsing your car for the last time before you dry it, or maybe you don't feel like driving it, or if you want to just drive off. So what I could do in the morning, before Cars and Coffee or something like that, is do a full wash, and then the last thing I'm going to do is do a full rinse with the pressure washer hooked up to this bad boy, and then I can literally just drive, and a bunch of the water will fly off the car, and then anything else that may or may not be sitting on the car will not leave a water spot, because all the minerals are captured inside of these things. This was just a quick little recap of my first impression. It's pretty much the same process as you would if you just have a regular pressure washer. I would definitely recommend hooking up a pressure washer to this thing, because it'll go through a lot less water. My pressure washer actually has it's over 2 gallons per minute flow rate. A lot of other ones are between 1.5 to 2. So if you hook up a hose to this and rinse a car off, you probably have well over 2 gallons per minute, maybe 3, 4, 5 gallons per minute. You're going to go through a lot more resin. So I would definitely recommend hooking this up to something that flows a lot less slow. A lot of people I know, especially non-car guys, think that because you use a pressure washer, you end up using a lot more water. And that can be true, but it's not necessarily true, because you're flowing, half as much water through the nozzle as you would be if you were rinsing it with a hose. That's just not really directed in any way. Hopefully that gives you a good overview of how this thing's worked, why I have it, and why someone might spend the money on something like this. So I think that is going to do it for this video. If you guys have any questions or suggestions rather, because this is my first time using it, I'm by no means an expert in this category yet, definitely leave a comment below and let me know how I can improve my process. I would like to do sort of maybe a valve behind this thing or above this thing, just so I can hook up the pressure washer once. That would be really nice. So maybe down the road, as I use this a little bit more, I'll think to do that. So in the meantime, comment below. I'll see you guys next time.